corrupt Nigerian, a corrupt police officer.
His name was given as Christopher Omeleze, but it turns out that's another part of the grand deception. For 21 years, he's able to con the force in an identity scam. Now that it turns out he is not Christopher Omeleze, as he has claimed for over 2 decades, who is this man? How can we be sure there aren't several similar imposters in the armed services? Perhaps it's time for a large-scale and thorough audit of personnel. Charles Aruka, Channels Television News.
Well, in other security matters, gunmen have abducted 6 workers of an Israeli-run fish farm in Buguma, River State, South Nigeria. Reports say the workers, 4 of them who are nationals of Thailand and 2 Nigerians, were on their way to work on the fish farm early in the morning when they were abducted. The 2 Nigerians were reportedly released later, but one of them, in an attempt to escape, quickly jumped into the water and drowned. There has been no information regarding the intention of the gunmen. Right, still ahead on the news at 10, Governor of Nasarawa State, Manko Al-Makura, to sponsor 350 Christians from his state for the 2013 pilgrimage. Please join us there. Welcome back to the news at 10. The Niger State government has promised to complete all ongoing projects in the state before the tenure of the present administration expires in 2015. The State Commissioner for Information, Professor Yahaya Kuta, made this promise during an inspection tour of some of the projects located in different parts of the state. He appealed to the residents to play their part by ensuring that the sites are not vandalized.
Officials of the Niger State government, leading community leaders and journalists on an inspection tour of some of the projects being executed by the state. The first port of call for the inspection team is the proposed headquarters of the Niger State Emergency Management Agency. The building is expected to house all relevant disaster management agencies in the state.
Niger State has been on the front line states, one of the frontline states in terms of disaster management and disaster mitigation. So this edifice now, when completed, is going to provide a platform for the engagement of all the stakeholders in disaster issues. Not only relief material distribution, no. Relief material is in fact is the aftermath. We are now talking about disaster mitigation and all the strategies that will avert the possibility of disaster happening.
The team also inspected 2 housing estates in Bida and Mariga, where the permanent secretary in the state's Ministry of Land and Housing told the team that the estates will help reduce the housing deficit in the state.
If the developer is to take care of all this, it means that he will build in the cost of infrastructure and land into the selling price. But we want the houses to be affordable and accessible to the citizenry. That is why the state government has taken the responsibility of providing the land, we pay the compensation, and also providing the infrastructure.
Several other projects were also visited by the team, as the state government has vowed not to leave any project uncompleted by the end of the tenure of the present administration.
The staff of the Direct Labour Agency, one of the maintenance agencies in Delta State, have staged a peaceful protest demanding the sack of its Director General, Mr. Emmanuel Igbini. The first Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Delta State Chapter, Christopher Yeke, stated that Labour will ensure that the right thing is done where the workers are concerned.
The premises of the Direct Labour Agency is under lock and key. The reason is this protest outside the gates. It's been carried out by some members of staff who are calling for the removal of the agency's boss.
Sometime now we've been on face-off with the Director General of the Direct Labour Agency. We all reached agreement that most of the harsh decision that was the cause of this crisis, and the man promised he was going to do that. And we all came back and returned to our desks. Unfortunately, the man did not stop at that.
Lending his voice in support of his colleague, the first chairman of NLC Delta State Chapter, Comrade Christopher Ayeke, maintained that the workers be paid their entitlement.